one of the parts of my book that I gave a short section to is what we can learn from observing nature in terms of our spiritual service. And the book, by the way, was given to an editor a while ago, but he's still yet to complete it. I don't know if Mashiach will come first or if he'll complete it, but eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to see it. But I just want to say there's a very interesting thing you can notice now. You see, right now it's about 60 degrees outside. It's a beautiful day. You don't need a jacket. If I shut up long enough, you can hear the birds. Maybe you can't. I don't know how good this camera is. But anyway, there's still snow on the ground. And this is something that happens in nature, at least in the Northeast, on a regular basis, that there's a time in between seasons. Now, granted, it's only February 11th, and there's still probably a lot of winter left. Maybe, I don't know. I don't like checking the news, by the way. People always say, they always tell me what the weather's going to be. I always tell them, please don't ruin it for me. I like to be surprised. I like waking up and not knowing what's going to be that day. But anyway, within nature you can find this phenomenon that there's a time in between seasons. And this is something that I think what we learn from it, by the way, this practice of learning from observing nature is traced back. I mean, you can really even trace it back to Avram Avinu, to Abraham, our forefather, who would observe the world at large and take from there many lessons about the nature of the world and the nature of the Creator. But in recent history, because Avram was born in, I think, 1948 from creation, so that would, right now we're 5769, you could do the math. There's a man named the Baal Shem Tov who lived, he was born in 1698 and disappeared in 1760. And his father passed away when he was 5 years old, and he would spend a lot of times in isolation in the woods. And according to legend, he was trained in the Torah by a prophet named Achia Shaloni. He was an invisible prophet, or maybe he was visible, I don't know, but he taught him the ways of the Torah. And basically get a sense that he would go out into the woods and he would understand from the nature of the universe, just based on his time spent in nature. So what's the lesson of these times, that it's really in between seasons, a beautiful warm day. The snow is obviously melting, it's above the freezing point, but it's still on the ground. So the lesson that I always take from this thing is that change in general in your life, whether it be an intellectual change, introducing a new thought pattern, a spiritual change, introducing into your life a new modicum of spiritual service, an emotional change, introducing a new range of emotions, a new way to gear your emotions, or even a physical change, introducing something new to your diet or a new exercise regiment, should happen gradually. And someone once told me, something that comes very fast will leave very fast. And the best way to do things is by a slow, gradual process. Because even though, and this is a point that oftentimes gets lost in 5769, because everything is so animated, automated, let's say. It's touch screen, we grew up in a generation of instant gratification, where everything had to be done the second I wanted it done. And now you see, from the people who still watch television, they tell me, you know, I know you don't like television, but it's different now. You don't have to, you can apparently tape the television, you can fast forward the commercials, and you just get the meat, the show that you want to watch. It sounds really tempting, but not really, I'm just making a joke. But my point is basically like this. There should be a time in your life, even when you're, and Judaism is based primarily on the concept that we're always progressing, that we're always advancing, and we're always going forward. It says, one of the basic concepts in Chassidus is Yetzias Mitzrayim, the leaving of Egypt. And in Chassidus it says the word Mitzrayim, the root of it is Meitzar, is straight or constraint. And it compares it to a gvul, a limit, a limitation. And it says that there's a line from Halacha that every day a person should see himself as if he's leaving Mitzrayim, as if he's leaving Egypt. This is to remember the graciousness that God acted to the Jewish people when he took us out of Egypt with a strong hand and outstretched arm, with the 10 plagues and the splitting of the sea, to bring us to the mountain of Sinai, to reveal to us his voice and his eternal Torah, his eternal teaching. But the Alter Rebbe, the first Lubavitcher rabbi, known as the Litvak, Shneur Zalman, who was actually 2 generations after the Baal Shem Tov, he said, he added a word. He said, V'kol yom v'kol es, I think, v'kol shah. Basically, not only in every day should you see yourself as leaving your previous constraints, your previous level of achievement, but in every moment, in every hour. And he saw spiritual progression and progression in general as something that has to be happening in a person's life constantly. And this is really why I always say that Judaism is a religion of passion. And if you're lacking passion towards Judaism, the nature of your soul is it will seek passion in other things, be it worldly delights, be it intellectual delights, be it physical delights, whatever it is. Your soul is thirsty and hungry and passionate and lustful, and it's drawn towards achievement and growth and production. And if you don't feed it spiritually, it will take its sustenance from other things. And this is spoken a lot about in Chassidus and Kabbalah, that you can be nourished from the side of holiness in this world, or you can be nourished from the side of what's called klippa, that a shell that conceals holiness, and sitra achra, the other side, literally translated, the other side of holiness. So the point is that when you look at nature, and granted, nature has its extraordinary events. There's like at times violently sudden shifts in patterns of nature. There's hurricanes, there's earthquakes, there's thunderstorms, there's things that happen very quickly, but this is not the norm. Generally speaking, you observe nature, you see a constant flow. You see a gradual progression from season to season, from climate, from temperature to temperature. It happens that sometimes the temperature will change very quickly, but this is not the norm. And what we're to take, I think, spiritually, is that whenever you're on a journey of, and you should always be on a journey of progression and development, let it be one step at a time, and let it be slowly but surely. You'll find that if you take on too much too fast, by and large it will mostly disappear from your life, that which you took on. And not only that, you'll find yourself falling to a lower rung, because you'll intellectually and perhaps even maybe subconsciously calculate that, well, I was doing this extra thing for quite some time, so now I have room spiritually to become void and to become more base, because I've compensated by doing that extra particular adherence, practice that I was doing. So anyway, I'd like to see comments and what you feel is right and proper. But and that's it. Okay. God bless. Thank you so much.